Gerade eben rausgekommen. Ein neues Video. Preview für Phase 3, was nächste Woche rauskommt. Ja. Wir gucken da mal rein und schauen, was so kommen wird. Geht 25
Welcome to our
Minuten.
Season of Discovery Phase 3 preview.
Untertitel?
As our team has shared in the past, we have been blown away by the reception to Season of Discovery,
Mach mal
and
aus.
we're so excited to share this sneak peek at what's ahead with you. So with that, let's take a look at what we'll be covering today. We'll kick things off with raid
Ist
information.
es zu laut? Nee, ne?
Then, a preview of rune abilities,
Runen?
followed
Sehr
by
nice.
our PvP updates, changes and additions being made to world events, a look at what's coming to professions,
Profession
and close
Update
it out with a very important system
und ein
update
System-Update.
and more,
Und
which you're
mehr.
definitely going
Ah,
to
das
want
ist
to
eine
stick
Menge.
around for. All right, so just like last time, some
Ist das zu laut, das
disclaimers.
Video? Es geht, oder?
We're going to put the build up on PTR soon to check our era and hardcore realms. But like
Warte mal, die machen bald einen PTR-RAM auf. Achso, da wird dann wieder gedataminen. Ne? Die machen PTR für ein
all
Datamining.
the other phases, Phase 3 of Season of Discovery will not have a PTR for player testing. Still, there will be some data mining that occurs in advance of the launch. But as we've been saying since the beginning of Season
Zu leise kann es nicht sein, eigentlich.
of Discovery, not everything data mined will actually be in the phase or future phases, so speculators beware. And conversely, there's more to discover in this upcoming phase and beyond than we're going to talk about ahead of time, and we want your feedback. Everything we do across Classic continues to be a journey that is co-written by you, the players,
Vielen Dank.
and we can't wait to hear your thoughts on all of it. All right, so I'm sure it is a total surprise that absolutely
raid.
no one saw coming that the Temple of Atal Hakar, aka the Sunken Temple, will be our new
Der
and
20er Raids,
first
Leute.
20-player level up raid. This raid is jam-packed
8
with 8
Bosse.
bosses,
Das sind
tons of new items, including
8 Bosse, 100 neue Items. 100 neue Items? 8 Bosse sind mehr als in Gnume.
new item sets,
Wir hatten 6.
new and revamped epic drops, and up-leveled and rebalanced quest rewards.
Quest Rewards ist wichtig. Quest Rewards bedeutet, es gibt im Tempel, ne? Es gibt im Tempel hier Klassenquests für jede Klasse. Ja, Titan Flask vom Krieger. Ich denke, die werden hier aufgewertet. Titan Flask und sowas. Aber 100 neue Items klingt insane. Und es gibt ein sehr geiles
This is
Schwert da
also
drin.
when the level 50 class
Schwert.
quests come online,
Genau, die Class
which will
Quest.
provide a wide array of powerful items for each class.
Redet darüber.
Jumping into a quick preview of a few of the bosses, the first boss in this
Ooh.
raid is Atalarion, a massive berserker troll that acts as a bit of a janitor, cleaning up or potentially eating any person or thing that happens to fall down from the atrium above.
Das Ding ist, der ist unten im Bereich. Das heißt, der Raid wird relativ groß sein, ne? Nicht nur der obere Bereich.
Eating
Der ist ja
any
unten.
person or thing that happens to fall down
Oh,
from the atrium
interessant.
above. If the fall doesn't kill you, this guy definitely will. Next up, we have a brand new boss.
Der ist neu,
The
ja.
Festering Rot Slime. This engorged, gelatinous monster inexorably patrols one of the outer rings of the Sunken Temple,
Okay, der Boss patrouilliert. Der ist an keiner festen Stelle.
consuming any wandering adventurer is hapless enough to cross its path. A bit further into the raid, we have Jamal An and Ogam, a priest and an
Den kennt
undead
man.
avenger, utterly dedicated to seeing the blood god Hakar return to the mortal world.
Das Ding ist, dieser Boss hat eine Gedankenübernahme und hier vorne sind Mobs, die vieren. 100 Pro wird dieser Mob jemanden wegführen und den Boss reinziehen. Ziemlich sicher.
These two will keep you on your toes and have a few tricks up their sleeve to keep the fight interesting each time you encounter them. The last boss in this preview is the
Letzter
mighty
Boss.
green dragon, Aranicus. Aranicus
Eranicus. Der droppt ein geiles Trinket von der Questreihe. Ich hoffe, das ist wieder drin, was so ein AOE-Gift um sich rum macht. Und der Typ hat auch eine Gedankenübernahme. Ja, der zweite drin. Gedankenübernahme-Boss. Tötet in Hardcore-WoW richtig viele Leute. Und der droppt ein richtig geiles Item. Der droppt nämlich ein Epic-Schwert mit einer 0,3% Drop-Chance oder so. Absolut insane. Ich hoffe, das ist wieder mit drin.
has been having a bit of a bad dream for the past few decades, and that dream is manifesting in our world in a variety of ways, which Nora will talk about in just a little bit. For those that make it to his lair, we can't recommend waking this big beast up, but if you do and are able to prevail, a lot of sweet loot will no doubt await you.
Bin gespannt.
Speaking of loot, here's a quick look at some of the
Oh,
awesome rewards
items.
you'll find inside the Sunken Temple. First up, we have a new take on the Drakestone
Drakestone. Oh, wisst ihr, was das ist für ein Ding? Das ist ein Rare-Item, was Prebis war für Mages zum Beispiel. Oder Warlocks. Und das haben die teilweise gefarmt. Das hatte eine 0, irgendwas Prozent Dropchance. Und das haben die teilweise tagelang gefarmt, so 50 Mal diesen Drachen getötet, um diesen Proc zu bekommen für ihre Klasse, das weiß ich noch.
Item with a new Shadow Arcane Spell Damage
Und er hat da immer einen anderen
Next
Proc
up is a
drauf.
rather unique weapon. Yes, it's an axe gun.
Warte
Shamans
mal.
and paladins have felt left out for quite some time when
Warte
it
mal.
comes to having ranged weapons, and short of Egan's blaster, there's not much for them. Now,
Warte mal. Das ist eine Waffe, eine Gun-Axe, eine halb Waffe, halb Waffe, halb Schusswaffe. Also halb Axt, halb Schusswaffe. Cool. Ranged Warrior ist ein Ding
ranged
anscheinend.
weapons,
Let's go.
and short of Egan's blaster, there's not much for them. Now, you too can have a gun that you can swing like an axe
Finde
or
ich gut.
shoot like a gun.
Nimm mir mit.
With a cooldown, of course. It's unfortunately a bit slow on the reload. Lastly, we have a quick look at our tier tokens.
Tier-Token
Similar
wieder.
to AQ40, we'll have 2 different tokens
Oh,
with
diesmal zwei
several
verschiedene.
classes on each. We really like the token system in Nomergon, but it sometimes felt a bit bad to be rolling against the entire raid whenever one dropped.
Okay, die Tokens werden wieder drinne sein, aber diesmal auf Klassen gesplittet. Ja, wir haben jetzt einmal diese Unterteilung und noch eine andere. Also alle Klassen, die hier nicht mit drinne sind auf dem anderen Token.
So now we'll have 2 different tokens, and multiple will drop on each boss that can drop set tokens. And here's a quick look at some of the epic rewards. First off, we've got a glow up for the classic Embrace of the Serpent robe for healers. We've also updated the sword Dragon's Call. One cool thing
Sehr
about
nice.
this weapon is that we've added several brand new glow effects for weapons in
Glows.
this pack.
Dieses Schwert meine ich. Das hat eine 0,3% Dropchance oder so. In hier Classic WoW. Super geiles Schwert.
And this is one
Und
of
2,6 Speed. Ne? Wird spannend. Und hier ist nochmal eine Chest mit Healing dann.
the first items to take advantage of having a very fancy,
Oh,
but
sieht das-
still quite classic
Holy.
new glow.
Okay,
And just
das will
like in
ich.
previous raids,
Ich werde einen
we've
Krieg als
got
erstes so
several
spielen.
fun items lined up as well. The first item is the Atalai Blood Ceremony, which allows you
Dagger.
and a friend or frenemy to play a deadly game where only one survives.
Finde ich gut.
This item is great for when you need to decide something, and a coin flip just won't cut it.
Also-
the unorthodox hex stick allows you to embrace your inner critter and transform into a disgusting little creepy
Okay, das ist
crawler
einfach
to
Stuff
dazzle and disgust
just for
your
fun.
friends.
Wie der World Warper
These
zum
are just a
Beispiel.
few examples, and there are several cool things coming with this patch.
Sieht aber gut aus.
We've
Ja.
intentionally left the best ones for you to discover yourself. Lastly, one bit of feedback we took to heart this patch was that a lot of updated quest rewards for previous level up raids
Jetzt bin ich gespannt.
feel a bit underwhelming. So for Sunken Temple, we've actually gone a step further and helped rebalance and restat many of the existing quest rewards.
Die haben
The first example here
Quest Rewards verbessert.
is a Vanguard helm.
Oh,
And you can see we've made it a bit more attractive to the classes that can use it.
25
And Helm of
Stamina ist nicht
Exile
wenig.
as well. And while not a quest reward, we have also carried forward some of the work we did updating dungeon drops in the previous phase and revamped even more
Dungeon
dungeon
Loot?
drop rewards, including Princess Theradras's Scepter.
Oh. Okay, das Zepter von der Prinzess ist jetzt ein Item für Ferals. Ja, viel Spaß. Maraudern Runs für die Feral Bisswaffe. Ist die besser als die Gnome-Regan-Ding? Bin ich nicht mal sicher.
With that, I'll turn it over to Matt to give us a preview of runes and just some of the
Sah
new
aber sehr gut
abilities
aus.
you'll get access to.
Und
Hey
Runen.
folks, I'm
Hallo.
Matt Everett, Senior Engineer on the Classic team. I'll go over some of the new runes you might find in Phase 3. Before that, I want to note that we heard your feedback that a lot of runes last phase weren't accessible until level 40.
Okay, geil.
We've tried to balance Phase 3, so you'll find more runes while leveling, but you'll still have some to look forward to at 50.
Also, diese Phase war es so, dass die Runen mehr so im Late Game waren. Ja, Ende 40 konnte man die holen, Ende 30. Und jetzt haben sie mehr die nach vorne geschoben. Ja, du kannst so Anfang 40 schon holen jetzt. Ja.
Let's look at Druids first. Gore gives you a chance to reset some key feral cooldowns and generate some
warte mal,
rage.
Gore.
And improved Barkskin
Strike in Large Lacerate. Resetted Cooldown of Mangle. Okay, das ist insane. Und Barkskin can auch cast on Allies. Alles klar. Also Barkskin wird jetzt ein Shield Wall auf andere Spieler. Ist insane. Sehr, sehr stark. Ja, für einen Raid. Und das klingt auch ganz gut, ne?
gives you all the benefits of Barkskin without the drawbacks, and you can cast it on your friends. Next up are Hunters. With Lock and Load,
Die beiden waren schon
your
bekannt.
traps
Lock and
grant you a
Load.
free shot with no cooldown. This
Warte mal.
Hunters. With Lock and Load,
Each time one of your traps is triggered, your next shot ability kostet kein Mana und kein Cooldown. Oha. Boosting, Leute. Boosting Hunter ist wieder drinne. Ihr könnt so hart reinboosten damit. Mit Explo-Shot. Du wirst eine Falle rein, Explo-Shot, kein Cooldown. Falle rein, Explo-Shot, kein Cooldown. Boosting
traps
Hunter,
grant you a free shot
let's go.
with no cooldown.
Let's
This
go,
could
let's
be a
go.
great 1-2 punch with something like Double Chimera Shot. Focus Fire lets your pet build up Frenzy, which increases its attack speed.
das hatten wir schon,
You
ne?
can activate it to consume your
Das
pet's
haben wir schon
frenzy,
gesehen
boosting
im
your
Datamine.
attack speed and granting your pet focus. Next up are Mages. Deep Freeze is a
Deep
powerful
Freeze kennen wir, war auch schon
5-second
drin im
stun on a
Datamine.
frozen target.
Ist im Endeffekt ein
Target's immune to
Kidney-Shot.
stuns,
Ja.
It takes significant damage instead. Balefire Bolt lets you live on the edge of risk and reward, dealing heavy damage.
Und den haben wir auch schon gedatamint. Also vieles ist schon datamint gewesen. Und damit machst du dir selber Schaden oder so. Also wenn du zu weit runter gehst, tötest du dich selber.
But decreasing your spirit. If you reach 0 spirit, you die. And by the way, if you're leveling a new mage, you might find this rune earlier than you expect.
Oh.
Paladins. Improved Sanctuary
Die haben gerade gesagt, wenn man einen neuen Mage startet, kommt die Rune vielleicht früher als gedacht. Also haben sie vielleicht neue Runen sogar vor Level 10 reingepackt. Also für Phase 1 neue Sachen reingepackt.
makes you even tankier, increasing Sanctuary's damage blocked and damage dealt back to attackers. Wrath
Okay,
lets you
Tank-Rune.
crit with Consecration and applies your melee crit chance.
Und die
to your
kennen wir auch
Holy
schon.
Shock,
Ja,
Holy
das ist diese
Wrath, and
Crit-Rune, die hatten wir auch schon
Exorcism
in
spells.
dem Datamine
Let's
drin.
look at Priests.
Priester.
Pain and Suffering allows your Mind Flay ability to refresh the duration of Shadowward Pain.
Okay, Shadowward
while
Death.
Surge of Light causes your crits to make your next Smite or Flash Heal
Okay.
instant cast. Rogues. Honor Among Thieves is incredibly powerful,
Nee.
granting you a combo
Die bringen Honor Among Thieves rein. Das wird ganz schön insane. Dieses Ding hier habt ihr unendlich Kombopunkte.
point each time a party member scores a crit. It does have a short cooldown, but you'll be swimming in combo points with
Ja,
this
aber
rune.
sowas von.
Cut to
auch
the
als
chase
Tank sehr
makes it
geil.
easier to keep Slice and Dice up by allowing
Nee.
Eviscerate and Envenom to refresh it back to its max duration.
Wisst ihr, wie die Schurken sich beschwert haben, dass ihre Rotation nur Mutilate und Envenom ist? Jetzt habt ihr wirklich nur noch Mutilate und Envenom, weil Slice and Dice einfach oben gehalten wird. Blade Dance auch. Blade Dance wird auch oben gehalten. Sehr
Next
boring,
up
ja.
are Shamans.
Shaman
To deal
Rune?
melee damage, Mental Dexterity applies your intellect to your attack
Ach
power,
du Schei.
and then applies 30% of your attack power to your spells.
Ach du Schei. Was machen sie? Der Shaman wird ja noch mehr broken werden. 100% Attack Damage auf your... Ach du meine Güte.
Riptide is a fan favorite
Riptide
that
kennen wir.
instantly heals the target for an initial amount and then heals for a
Ist Healing,
similar amount
aber
over time.
viel Spaß in
When you
Hanser.
chain
Das
heal a
war's mit dem
target with
Kriegerlevel.
Riptide active, it gets consumed to power up the chain heal. Warlocks. Pandemic makes damage over time spells
Okay,
even more
Crit für
overwhelming
Dots.
by letting
Ja,
them
Dots
crit.
können critten beim
With
Warlock.
this rune, you can summon the iconic Felguard to
Und
supplement your
Felguard
staple
kann man
of demon
summonen.
pets. The Felguard is a powerful melee damage dealer capable of
Lange in
both
Hanser nicht mehr
tanking
tank,
and dealing
besser
out
gemacht. True.
serious punishment. He's not the only new demon you can summon this phase, but I'll let you discover that on your own.
Es gibt noch einen neuen Dämon zum hier Summonen, die Phase. Nicht nur ein Felguard, gibt noch einen weiteren anscheinend.
Warriors.
Jetzt
With
kommt's.
Taste for Blood, your rend
Äh,
damage lets you
ich
use
hasse das Ding.
Overpower once per 6 seconds.
Bäh.
Sword and Board gives your
Das finde ich ganz gut. Ja, das hier ist so ein Ding, das mag ich nicht, weil ich mag den Playstyle davon nicht. Sword and Board ist geil. Mehr Damage. Ja. Schildslam ballert mehr rein. Und du hast eine Chance, den Schildslam zu reduzieren. Und es kostet nichts. Damit könnte Tank Shaman mit Schild ziemlich gut werden. Tankkrieger.
Devastate
gut.
and Revenge, a chance to reset Shield Slam's cooldown and make it cost no rage. This time, Warriors get a bonus rune, the much requested Gladiator stance.
Oh. Krieger kriegt Gladiator Stance dazu. Bonusrune. Okay. Der Krieger-Tank mit Schild wird viable werden, denke ich. Wenn Gladiator Stance mit drin ist. Aggressive Stance. Increases Damage, wenn du ein Schild trägst, bei 10%. Block-Chance 10%. Aber weniger Armor, aber mehr Threat. Okay. Also Krieger-Tank sieht gut aus. Mit diesen beiden Runen, ja, das ist für die Schuhe, by the way. Überleg mal. Das Ding ist auf den Schuhen drauf. Auf den Schuhen ist aktuell nur Müll. Ne? Jetzt wird ein Krieger gar nicht mal bad werden. Ich sag's euch.
Lets you live that Sword and Shield Gladiator fantasy.
Ich glaube,
This increases your damage when wearing a
Das sieht
shield,
gut aus.
as well as letting you use abilities from other stances at the cost of survivability.
Warte
This is
mal.
one we've
Du kannst andere Fähigkeiten usen. Leute, das wird insane.
really been looking forward to bringing to the season, and we can't wait to see what warriors are able to do with it.
Weil ihr müsst überlegen, normalerweise konntest du sowas wie Berserkerwut nicht gut usen als Krieger. Jetzt kannst du das einfach reinballern und dir damit Flagellation die ganze Zeit oben halten. Holy, wird das insane werden.
I love watching players work together to find all the new runes each phase, and I'm looking
Das wird
forward to
krank.
this one. Up next, Nora will join us to talk about PvP updates.
Hey,
PvP-Updates.
thanks, Matt.
Moin.
My name's Nora Valletta, and I'm a lead software engineer on WoW Classic. I'm here to talk about some of the other updates we've got coming in Phase 3, starting with
PvP. Interessiert
One
keinen.
of the things we've learned from previous phases is that PvP can be a bit rough when the only thing available is PvE gear that is generally set up with output stats rather
Oh.
than survivability stats. As
Nice
a result,
PvP gear.
we're going to be introducing a brand new level 50 PvP set
PvP
that
sets.
requires ranks 5 through 7 to equip and earn.
Sehr geil. Bis Rang 7 geht es neue PvP-Sets, Leute. Da wird Resilience drauf sein. Ziemlich sicher. Sowas wie Phase 1.
This is similar to the rank 10 and rank 13 PvP sets in that it's a full 6-piece set with appropriate PvP set bonuses.
Sehr geil.
There will also be a starter set available from a new faction
Neue
called the
Fraktion.
Emerald Wardens, but we'll go into more detail on them later on. Here's a quick look at a few of the new
Okay, es gibt anscheinend ein neues PvP-Set. Mit mehr Stamina und so weiter drauf. Mehr Stamina? Klingt gar nicht mal bad, ne? Hä, das ist ein ziemlich guter Set sogar. Holy moly. Das ist richtig gut.
PvP set
Und eine neue
items.
Fraktion gibt
You'll
es.
notice that they are a bit more specialized and focused than the previous level 60 PvP sets were. Each class will have a variety of sets available to them, such
Okay,
that
jede Klasse hat
multiple
4
different
verschiedene
steps
Sets.
or roles are covered. We're also making a few adjustments to the
Blood
Blood Moon
Moon.
event, including adding brand new rewards for level 50.
Wait.
We'll also be adding a new currency
Es gibt für das Blood Moon-Ding neue Belohnungen. Das Schlingendontal-Event, neue Belohnung. Und es gibt einen neuen Coin.
for the level 50 rewards called Massacre Coins,
Massacre Coin.
which you'll earn when killing higher level players in the event. We'll be retiring the blood-stained commendations that are currently available from the Blood Coin vendor. Any existing commendations that you have will still function after the patch, but don't hold on to them forever. They
Okay, und irgendwas wird entfernt. Das habe ich nicht ganz verstanden. Irgendwelche
will
Coins oder so werden
expire after
entfernt.
2 weeks. We think it's okay if you're able to bank these now to give you a bit of a leg up on PvP ranking at the start of the next phase, but we don't necessarily want you to be able to hoard enough coins to get you all the way up to rank 14 later on when that rank becomes available. We'll have a new PvP Honor Consumable token for level 50 as well, purchasable with the new currencies. And how about some gear? Here are a few of the new items
Die
available.
neuen Items für TBC-Event. Für Schlingendontal. Hä, das sind ja genau die gleichen. Oder nicht? Lol. Eine Throwing Weapon, die den Gegner einfach snared. Holy moly. Das ist insane. Hunter, your range attack leads HP vom Gegner. Okay. Das Schlingendontal-Event, du kannst dir wieder sofort ein Biss-Item holen. Guckt euch das Ding mal bitte an. Ein 3,1 Speed Crossbow. Und dann kommt Paladin, der kriegt Power gegen Dragonkin. Lel. Also das ist insane Style.
The Blood Moon event in
Also
Phase
du wirst
3.
das Schlingendontal-Event spielen, hast wieder ein
Do note that
Biss-Item.
the Headhunter's Barbed Spear is a warrior-only weapon. We also realized that ranged hunters may have felt a bit left
What
out
the heck?
last time, so we've gone ahead and given them a pretty strong crossbow option in this round. Well, Phase 3 of Season of Discovery will
World
soon be
events?
upon us, and with it comes new loot, new opportunities to gain experience, and new adventure. Let's take a quick look at our new PvE world event called Nightmare Incursions. Picture, if you will, the 4 emerald portals scattered across Azeroth.
Sehr geil.
At this point in history, the Dragons of Nightmare, Terrar, Ysondra, Emerus, and Lethan have not yet arrived to
Also
spread
neue
their
World
terror.
Events.
However, as you approach each portal, you can't help but sense hidden danger. Something
Das sind die Spots, wo normalerweise die World Bosses spawnen. Ja, die World Boss Dragon. Diese Portale. Die sind noch nicht da, aber dafür gibt es aber jetzt was anderes an dem Spot. Also noch mehr World Events.
not quite right. Those brave enough to enter an emerald portal will be plunged into a realm seeping with corruption and overrun with dragons, treants, and other poor souls driven mad by the corruption. But beware, not all foes are alike. Some enemies can be defeated by a single seasoned adventurer, while others are perhaps too powerful
Klingt
to
cool.
be faced
Da
alone.
sind so Portale, wo man
Nightmare
rein kann.
Incursions offer repeatable PvE content for levels 25 through 50. To check it out,
Warte mal. Du kannst es auf 25 schon machen. dieses Event. Mit neuer Reputation, neuen Rewards. Das ist die neue Fraktion, die freigeschaltet wird, denke ich. Also sogar fürs Early Game haben sie was mit reingepackt. Was du während dem Level machen kannst. Finde ich
Simply
geil.
enter one of the 4 emerald portals located in Duskwood, Ashenvale, Hinterlands, or Feralus. This is a great new opportunity to earn experience, and those who
Sehr, sehr
choose
cool.
to jump in
Und
and fight the corruption
sie meinte Experience. Ja, es gibt mehr XP da drin. Also kannst du mit dem Kram auch leveln.
will have the chance to earn reputation with an all-new faction called the Emerald Wardens.
Genau, haben wir drüber
With
geredet.
great danger comes great rewards. The Emerald Wardens will be very grateful for your help and will be offering a selection of choice new items to sweeten the deal. One of the cool things about Nightmare Incursions is that we plan to include some rewards at different player levels, as there will be content available for players roughly level 20 all the way to 50 across all
20 bis
4
50 gibt es neuen
worlds.
Content.
The first example is this Nightmare Siphon Trinket, which could be really fun for low-level alts.
Ja.
For level 50, we have the Roar of the Dream, a
Holy
somewhat
moly.
unique ring that
Holy.
has a sizable spell damage proc on it.
Guckt euch mal dieses Ding an. Deine Spades haben eine Chance, 66 Spell Damage zu generieren. Und das Set ist mit dabei. Das Anfangs-PvP-Set. Aber dieser Ring ist ja krank.
Lastly, we also plan to take a page from the Burning Crusade playbook and make a level 50 PvP set available at Honored with the new Emerald
Genau, das
Wardens
ist das
faction.
PvP-Set, was ich vorhin
This
meinte.
set isn't as powerful as some of the other PvP item rewards we plan to add this phase, but it's a good stepping stone into the better items later on. With the launch of Phase 3 comes a host of interesting new updates to professions. Continuing on from the first 2 phases,
Okay.
we'll be introducing a new quest chain to give
Es gibt eine neue Quest-Chain, die bringt einen in den Nightmare rein, was ihr gerade gesehen habt, und in den Sunken Temple. Es gibt neue epische Schultern, Engineering Bracers, Reusable Alchemie Flask gibt es jetzt und mehr.
players access
Holy.
to new Nightmare armaments, crafting recipes, as well as some fun things for engineering, enchanting, and
Engineering
alchemy.
Bracers.
We've also learned a few lessons from the previous phase of professions, so the cost to access the recipes will be essentially free in terms of raw gold, and the cost
Okay.
of the recipes that Ziri offers and Nomergon are going to be decreased as well, in case you want to buy additional recipes for completion or you have an alt that wants to snag the recipes for themselves.
Also die neuen Rezepte werden kein Gold kosten anscheinend und die jetzigen Rezepte aus Gnome-Regan werden reduziert werden.
We think gold sinks are important and are going to explore different ways later on
Es wird
to
Goldsinks
do
geben.
that are not so directly on the critical path of gear progression.
Aber nicht mit den Berufen.
Here's a quick look at a few of the crafted items you can make.
Crafted
this
Items. Immunity to 4, 15 Sekunden ist viel. Das sind Armschienen. Epische Schultern gibt es. Spellcasting Speed. Holy moly. Okay, das geht aber nur in diesen Nightmare-Dingern, anscheinend. Okay, diese ganzen Equip-Effekte sind nur in diesen Nightmare-Dingern aktiv. No effect outside of areas under the influence of Nightmare, okay. Ich dachte, okay, das klingt hier sehr, sehr broken. Aber das geht nur in diesen Nightmare-Dingern. Dann ist es okay, finde ich.
There are many more across various professions and for various specs
Klingt
and
wild.
roles. As you can see, some of these items offer interesting new on-equip effects which are applied while you're under the influence of the
Ah, doch, das sieht aus wie 4 Immunität.
If you'd
PvP
prefer
wird
to stay
weird.
nightmare free, we've got some cool new items such as the void-powered Slayer's Vambraces, which can grant you immunity to fear for 15 seconds.
Ah, das ist
We
insane.
do plan to allow you to pick up specializations this phase, as well as allow you to level
300.
300 in each profession. Additionally, we've added
Warte
a
mal.
few new surprises here.
Holy moly.
For example, we are adding a quest to allow you to
Also das ist halt das Krasse. Ein Ingenieur bekommt 15 Sekunden Immunity auf 4. Also Ingenieur ist ja so ein Must-Have für PvP. Das ist krank.
which can grant you
Also,
immunity to fear
gute
for
Nacht,
15
Warlocks.
seconds.
Echt.
300 in each.
Und hier kommt das Ding. Die Berufe. Es wird bis 300 gehen. Ja. Es wird die Spezialisierung geben. Gnome, Gnome-Ingenieur, Goblin-Ingenieur und so weiter. Es wird neue Spezialisierung Quests geben und Rezepte. Und es kommt noch mehr auf Level 60.
Profession. Additionally, we've
Also
added a
richtig,
few new surprises
richtig
here.
viel Kram.
For example, we are
Eine
adding
Menge.
a quest to allow you to get additional potion, elixir, and
Richtig
flask
viel.
procs when crafting those types of consumables. You'll also have to do a little bit of legwork to unlock these things, but the benefits should be well worth it. The lion's share of our new toys involving professions specs will be coming after level 60, and we have some very cool things planned there.
Bin
to
gespannt
allow
auf
you to
60. Also
make
60
the
wird ja
most of
krass
these
werden dann.
professions. Well, that was a lot of updates. I hope I didn't forget anything.
Holy viel
Josh,
Stuff.
I'm not forgetting anything, am I?
Now that you mention it, Nora, there is one small system update you might have missed. But first, hi, I'm Josh Greenfield, senior game producer on.
Ah, der von Twitter.
So there is one small system change coming, and honestly, the update is so minor we almost didn't mention it, because we didn't think anyone would really care, but since we're all previewing things, we figured we might as well.
Systemupdate.
So, in 1.15.2 with Phase 3, you may happen upon
Oh.
a dashing dwarf from a
Oh, Dual Spec. Leute. Dual Spec wird kommen.
faraway land that has one very special talent that he wants to share with you for a small fee, of course. Actually, to be a little bit more specific,
50 Gold. Es kostet 50 Gold. 50 Gold Pieces. Und Level 40. Level 40 mit 50 Gold.
he has two sets of special talents to share. Like I said, we were pretty sure this wouldn't be a big deal to most players. We probably should have just left it out of the presentation entirely. So, with that, we're approaching the home stretch, but we've got a tiny bit more to discuss, and we want to take some time to cover a few other miscellaneous topics.
Holy
commonly
moly,
asked
wie viel
questions,
Stuff
as
einfach.
well as a quick look at how things will start to shape up at level 60. So let's jump right into that. So the first topic here is world buffs. As
Macht
with the
Sinn.
previous phases, we'll continue to allow you to use the previous world buff up through the current max level. The new raid, Sunken Temple, will also include a new world buff. We'll also be making some rather powerful consumables available for
Neue
exchange on a
Consumables.
certain NPC using materials found in the
HK
Sunken
neuer
Temple
Buff
raid.
und Gnomeregan
These
geht
are
nicht mehr auf
spiritually
50.
similar to the
Der World
Zenzo
Buff.
elixirs that you
Macht
can
Sinn.
obtain by exchanging items found in Zul'Gurub. They're quite powerful, so you'll definitely want to bring them with you to the raid when you can. Also, as with previous phases,
XP Turn-ins,
we'll
warte mal.
clarify
Das ist wichtig für Quest Prep, Leute. Marks of Honor, Wasteland, Water Supplies und so gehen nicht von 40 bis 49, funktioniert nicht.
that bankable, repeatable turn-in items will not function to allow you to level quickly from 40 to 50.
Finde ich gut.
We really love the preparation aspect.
Aber das haben sie schon mal gesagt.
WoW, and things like pre-questing are great. But being able to bank hundreds or even thousands of repeatable quest turn-in items to get multiple levels right when the phase begins is not going to be supported in this or any phase going forward. To be clear, this includes things like Marks of Honor, Wastewander water pouches, and the troll necklaces from the Hinterlands. One of the big lessons we've learned in Season of Discovery is how tricky it can be to balance the level-up journey and the outdoor world.
Also die
but
gibt's
to
nicht für immer,
also
nee, ist eine Season.
encourage players to play multiple
Lauter kann ich
characters.
nicht machen, ey.
It's tricky to manage, especially against a
Schon ganz
seasonal
laut.
backdrop where the content phases are relatively short by World of Warcraft.
Item auf Pulli, da steht ein Epic WoW Team Hoodie.
To help out with this a bit, we introduced a very powerful Discoverer's Delight XP buff at the
Wait.
midpoint of Phase 2.
Okay, Mitte Phase 2. Warte mal.
And while that are relatively short by World of Warcraft standards, to help out with this a bit, we introduced a very powerful Discoverer's Delight XP buff at the midpoint of Phase 2. And while that was effective at increasing
No.
the speed at which you could level alts, it didn't really help to reduce the fatigue that came with leveling your first main character. By way of a compromise, in Phase 3, you will earn 50% additional XP from all sources from levels 40 to
Okay, es gibt sofort einen 50% XP-Buff. Sofort. Ihr könnt sofort super schnell leveln.
49, and this will be active right when Phase 3 goes live. This is just to give a slight nudge right away. It will still be a sizable number of hours to hit 50, but this will help move that along.
What the
without
heck, das ist ein
feeling
bisschen
like you're
insane,
either
oder?
just
Als ob sie
flying
SOD
through
einfach
or
durchballern wollen.
conversely in danger of running out of quests if questing is your preferred leveling method. Note that the 100% buff from 1 through 39 will remain in place as well. Overall, we think that these buffs are a decent solution, but they aren't what we consider to be ideal. We're going to carry a lot of what we learned forward if we do something like this again, and maybe look at
Junge,
other
Junge.
adjustments we can
Direkten
make to help
XP buff.
smooth the leveling curve in general. Additionally, as with Black Fathom Deeps before, Nomergon will give a sizable amount of XP for each boss kill, so continuing to run that with your guild will be a worthwhile
Okay,
option
Gnomeregan gibt
when
XP.
it is available.
Ja, das ist normal.
On the same token, we see Nightmare Incursions as a good quick way
Und die
to
Nightmare-Dinger
chunk
geben auch nochmal
XP
XP.
if you find yourself wanting a change of pace from your normal leveling routine.
Das Ding ist,
There's a lot of repeatable
gibt es wieder
content
einen Gelockout.
there. As for the raid release and lockout schedule, we've been thinking a lot about this.
Okay. Der Raid hat einen 1-Wochen-Lockout. Nicht mehr zweimal pro Woche, alle 3 Tage, jetzt eine Woche Lockout. Weniger Raiding, Leute. Weniger Raiding, der hat eine Woche Lockout. Außerdem ist er sofort dabei. Ab Tag 1 ist er dabei.
And we've decided to shift Sunken
Und es wird mehr
Temple
Drops
to a
geben.
weekly lockout, and it will be available right at the release of Phase 3, kind of similar to what we did with Nomergon in Phase 2. Players will have 5 full days to hit level 50 if you want to try and
Also
get
5
your
Tage hast du
raid
Zeit, auf
during
50
the first
zu kommen.
lockout, and then the raid will work like any other weekly lockout, resetting on Tuesday or your normal regional lockout day. We decided to make this swap for a few reasons. First, we've gotten feedback from players saying they would like to have a bit more consistency with their raid schedule, and with the raid size going up to 20 players in this phase, being able to plan long term is even more important. We'll also talk about this a little bit more in the next few slides, but we're also thinking ahead to what the raiding landscape will look like once we hit level 60. That also informs this decision. Lastly, on this topic, we will be sure we are being generous with drops to compensate for this.
Ja, es wird mehr Drops geben. Mehr
That's a
Loot.
good segue to talk about level 60.
Level 60 Preview?
Since we're getting close to 60, we think it makes sense to dig into a few more
Wait.
details of what you can expect.
Sehr früh.
starting with
PvP haben sie schon drüber geredet.
This preview is very, very early and in no way comprehensive, but it's just meant to be a minor sneak peek at some things we have.
Sneak Peek B4.
Again, to stress that much of what you will see here is still very much in development, and some specifics could and likely.
Doch, PvP sah sehr gut aus.
This is more of a look at our general thought process, rather
Genau, ist auch ein
the
20er
actual
Raid,
set
ne?
in stone plans we have. As we alluded to a few slides
Raid
ago,
Lockouts?
we plan to standardize raid lockouts from level 50 and beyond to a weekly reset.
Alle sind
This
50er
includes things
Retake.
like Zul'Gurub, Ruins of Anchorage, and Onyxia's
Okay.
Lair. We also
Alle gehen auf Weekly Lockout. Auch jetzt die Zul'Gurub und so weiter.
want to assure with our itemization updates, many of the items, even in early raids, remain relevant for a pretty good long time. Ultimately, this is a very classic approach, and many items you got, even as your pre-raid best in slot, such as the Hand of Justice or the Savage Gladiator chain, remained good for several tiers, and we want to carry this forward. With this in mind, however, we know you will likely want to run several different raids a week, but we want to avoid a situation where logistics gets messy because you have to contend with a large number of irregular, unwieldy raid log timers. By the time Blackwing Lair is out, for example, there's going to be a large menu of relevant things to do at level 60, and being able to plan and schedule activities on a predictable cadence is going to be very important. Last quick note on this, while Upper Blackrock Spire is technically a 10-player raid, it's never
Also
had a
es wird
lockout,
genug
and that
Raids
will
geben.
remain true. It's a
Ja, es wird genug Raids geben. Auf Max-Level. Auch wenn wir einen wöchentlichen Lockout haben. Er meinte, sobald Blackwing Lair da ist, gibt es super, super viel Kram zu tun.
essentially a 10-player dungeon and will remain that.
Boah, stell dir mal GDKPs vor,
go
wäre das ein
farm those
Traum.
Briarwood reads. Another very frequently asked question we've received is, what about weapon skill racial bonuses? From the start, we've suggested that you shouldn't need to worry too much about things like
Weapon
orc
skill?
and human weapon skills long term,
Orc und
and that you should
Mensch?
feel good about choosing whatever race you want based on their aesthetics or other bonuses that race gets apart from weapon skill bonus. Every phase, we get asked for a status update on this, and we just wanted to confirm that yes, the solution is coming at level 60. At level 60, you will be able to discover a method to essentially swap in and out up to 2 weapons.
Okay, das ist insane. Auf Level 60 kann man plus 5 Weapon Skill einfach so raufklatschen. Das ist richtig krass. Holy moly. Das macht Humans und. Also Orc wird immer noch broken bleiben wegen Orc Racial. Aber Humans wird dadurch richtig krass genervt. Aber richtig
skill
krass.
bonuses for your character. So, for example, if I were a Troll Fury warrior and I had a mace and a dagger, I could swap my passive bonuses to +5 maces and +5 daggers.
Das ist insane.
Please note that these weapon skill bonuses do not stack with each other or with a certain race's
Das ist ein
normal
dicker Nerf.
passive weapon skill bonus. So in the same scenario, if I were a human warrior, I already get +5 maces from my racial skill. So instead, I might want to use +5 bows and +5 daggers so that maybe my bow skill had a better chance to hit if I was
Mit
pulling
Bogen.
higher level mobs. Just like your racial skills, however, these passives will stack with any weapon skill you gain from items, such as Obsidian Edge Blade or Maladath.
Okay, die
Root
stacken
Blade.
aber mit anderen Items. Okay.
These unlockable passives will be available right at level 60.
Auf
and while
60
there
kann man die
will be a
unlocken.
short discovery to unlock them, everyone who wants them will have
Finde ich
access
gut.
to them
Na,
early.
finde ich nice.
Continuing that line of thought, yes, priests will also be able to
Okay, und
unlock
das ist
other
auch big.
races' unique priest
Auf 60 können die Priester die Racials eintauschen. Ja, zum Beispiel Desperate Prayer.
spells as
Fear
well,
Ward und
such
sowas.
as Devouring Plague and Fear Ward. We
Das ist
don't
auch
want to
krass.
spoil how this will work just yet, but just like weapon skills, we do get asked about
Junge
this a
Wild.
lot and wanted to confirm that this was also coming and would be available early on at level 60. There will also be discoveries tied to accessing these spells as well. So, this is the last big item in our level 60 preview, and we think it's the most impactful, as items are obviously going to be a major focus.
Okay, jetzt kommt ein neues Item für 60.
We're essentially totally revamping tier sets to
Okay, das
have
haben wir schon
multiple
gesehen.
variants for different specs and roles that each class
Die
can.
Tiersets werden
We don't
revamped.
necessarily intend to make a full set for every single niche playstyle in every raid tier, as some classes could end up with upwards of 5 to 7 sets every few months. But We do want to try and cover a lot of the major roles as well as some new playstyles we've added to different classes.
Also Hunter wird ein
Most
Melee-Set kriegen
unique roles
wahrscheinlich.
each class
etc.
has access to get something cool at some point during their level 60 journey. Additionally, we plan to revamp many existing non-set dungeon and raid items at level 60.
60er Items werden
as
Revamp,
well
macht
as
Sinn.
adding new best-in-slot or nearly best-in-slot
Neue Bis
crafting
Professions.
options at 60.
Okay.
We think there's a lot of fun and interesting things we can do with the level 60 professions and profession specialization crafts, and we plan to expand on those to keep crafting more relevant for a longer
Es klingt
period of
insane.
time.
Also bis
Lastly,
jetzt
swapping
klingt's
profession
richtig gut.
specializations will be easier and more flexible, but will likely have a cost.
Okay, und man kann wohl einfacher Profession swappen auf
associated with
60.
doing so. We're still ironing out the final design for what this will look like, but if you're familiar with how this worked in Burning Crusade, that might be a good starting
Okay.
point to inform how this might work. Finally, here's a few quick examples
Okay, da haben wir
of
schon ein paar
what
von gesehen,
potential
ja.
new tier sets could
Die
look
Tiersets, die vielleicht
like. These
reinkommen.
are very much not
Moonkin,
finalized,
Paladin
so
und so
any
weiter.
of the stats or set bonuses could and probably will change. So first off, you'll notice we've got a tanking rogue set with a very interesting
rogue set.
piece bonus. We've also got a Shockedin Paladin set that really plays up key abilities such as Exorcism and Holy Shock. Lastly, we have a Boomkin set that really leans into some of the bonuses we've recently
Also
added
6
to
neue Runen für jede Klasse kommen wohl.
Again, these are somewhat early on rough draft versions of some of these items.
Also ich muss sagen, es klingt sehr, sehr gut.
Was
sagt ihr dazu? Ich finde, das ist das beste Update bisher, was sie gemacht haben. Also sehr viele geile Sachen dabei. Alter, Content bleibt relevant. Der XP-Bonus zum Leveln ist natürlich so eine Sache, aber was soll's. Es ist nur Leveln, ne?
Und
die Leute hängen sowieso nur im Dungeon rum. GG.
As well as provide a bit more information on Phase 4 as we start getting a little bit closer to that. As always, we want to express a heartfelt thanks from the WoW Classic.
Vielen Dank, also gutes Ding.
Thank
Echt,
you for playing
Respekt.
with us. Thank you for the feedback. and
Dual
thank you
Spec
for
mit
the
drin, ne? Also die hören auf
participation
Community,
in
das
helping
ist das
us
Wichtige
develop
daran, ja.
this season. We'll see you again when Season of Discovery Phase 3 goes live shortly. Thank you again and
GG.